You're with BBC News and we are live in Sydney as Australia is about to welcome in 2025 with their world-famous fireworks display. This year's theme is Forward with Heart. It not only includes fireworks but also lighting and projections. Around 1 million spectators are gathered alongside the harbour for this global event. Let's listen in. Wow. Happy New Year, Sydney. What a display there as Australia welcomes in 2025. I think that London has definitely got something to live up to a little later. That was amazing. The annual Sydney fireworks, the Harbour Bridge lit up. And I must say, shout out to Luna Pan. She is the composer that composed the music that went so perfectly with that fireworks display. Amazing. Now, of course, we've already seen Auckland in New Zealand welcome in the new year, and throughout the day we will be bringing you the best of the fireworks here on BBC News, and indeed we have a live page up and running on the BBC News website and app with the latest video and pictures from around the world as we saw that spectacular fireworks display in Sydney. But of course, it isn't just fireworks. As well as those, New Year sees many global leaders take the opportunity to address their nations. Now, President Xi Jinping has told China, just ahead of celebrations there, that no one can stop unification with Taiwan. And Russia's President Putin hailed his proud achievements in a New Year's address marking 25 years in power. He said Russia would only move forward in 2025. I mentioned New Zealand. Let's take a look at some of the fireworks there as they welcomed in the new year. They're displayed traditionally from the Auckland Sky Tower. And as you can see, lovely fireworks bursting out there as they see out 2024 and welcome in 2025. Now, in total, believe it or not, it will actually take 26 hours for the entire world to welcome in the new year because of the time zones. Kiribati was the first to welcome it in, and Baker Island will be the last. Again, you can get more details on why that's possible on the website. Now, here in the UK, I'm afraid the weather didn't really get the memo that it was New Year's Eve, as more celebrations have had to be called off. It's because of warnings of high winds and heavy rain. Fireworks displays in Newcastle and in Ripon in North Yorkshire have joined a list of cancellations already. Outdoor events in Edinburgh, those famous Hogmanay celebrations, and in Blackpool have already been abandoned. Weather warnings for rain, wind and snow have been issued for Scotland, Northern Ireland, Northern England and parts of Wales. Now, officials in London are monitoring the weather ahead of tonight's sold-out fireworks display on the banks of the River Thames. Well, our Scotland correspondent Katrina Renton is in Edinburgh with more on those Hogmanay cancellations.
You can see how windy it is here. It's been very heavy rain here this morning as well, although we're getting a little bit of respite from that at the moment. But as you can see, the conditions are not good, and that is why organisers here had to cancel the outdoor events, the world famous street party, the concert in Princes Street Gardens that was due to be headlined by Texas, the Scottish rock band, of course, and of course those spectacular fireworks that bring in the bells every year, but sadly not this year. Now, the last time that this happened, when the outdoor events were cancelled because of adverse weather, was back in 2006. So it's not something that happens very often, and of course there's massive disappointment, but organisers here have done this with a heavy heart. But you can see how difficult it would be today to be preparing in these conditions, and of course safety has to come first. It looks like the weather actually will have cleared up quite significantly by midnight tonight, but the problem is today, and if you look at where we are just now, you can see that it's not ideal. Now, I've been in the city centre, I've been talking to people who've come here from all over the world to see in Hogmanay, of course, to be here for Hogmanay, and of course to see in the new year. I've met people from Australia, from Malaysia, who came here, and of course they're disappointed, but of course also understanding. And the thing that I've been able to cheer them up with, of course, is that here in Scotland is, in my opinion, the best place to spend Hogmanay, and you don't need to be outside to enjoy it. There's plenty of things to do inside too, and the indoor events that were organised for Edinburgh's Hogmanay are still going ahead. So, you know, there's plenty to do, there's plenty to enjoy, but just, of course, keeping safe, and that street party, the thing that people do look forward to and do come from all over the world to be involved in is not going ahead.
Katrina Renton in Edinburgh, and a little later we should have the London fireworks, and I'll be here to bring you those live on BBC News. Around the world and across the UK, this is BBC News. To the Middle East now, and in just over a week, 6 babies in Gaza have died from the cold weather. That's according to the Hamas-controlled health authorities. With hundreds of thousands of displaced Palestinians living in tents and temperatures expected to drop further in the coming days. The news comes as a new report by the United Nations says Israel's attacks on hospitals in Gaza have had a catastrophic effect on Palestinians' access to healthcare, raising serious concerns about war crimes and crimes against humanity. Israel doesn't allow the BBC independent access into Gaza, but our correspondent Amir Nader has worked with 2 freelance camera operators in Gaza who met families who've lost their loved ones. He's in Jerusalem.
It was, again last night, a very cold night in Gaza with winds and heavy rain. There are hundreds of thousands of Gazans living in tents there in the Gaza Strip. And we've heard from the Civil Defence Forces this morning, the first responders, who say that whilst last night was a relatively quiet night in terms of airstrikes, they received many calls of families living in tents who say that the tents were flooded or destroyed. Now, the humanitarian agencies, including the United Nations, are calling for Israel to allow more aid into the Gaza Strip, saying there is a dire need for those goods for winter to keep families warm there. Israel, for its part, is saying that they do continue to facilitate the delivery and transfer of aid into the Gaza Strip. Now, the report that you're about to see, as a warning, just to say, does contain some distressing themes. Baby Sila was just 20 days old when her father, Mahmoud, couldn't wake her.
In the morning, I found her stiff, like wood. I took her to the hospital and they told me, your daughter has been dead for an hour due to the cold. I have no clothes, no food, no drink. Only God knows our condition. Due to the cold, I have no clothes, no food, no drink. Only God knows our condition.
Sila was seen by Dr. Ahmed Al-Farah.
She suffered from severe hypothermia, leading to the cessation of vital signs, cardiac arrest, and eventually death. Yesterday as well, 2 cases were brought in. One was a 3-day-old baby, and the other was less than a month old. The cause of this is life in the tents.
Mahmoud's family have been displaced over 10 times throughout the war. Here in Mawasi camp, tens of thousands of Gaza's nearly 2 million displaced live on the beach, suffering from the winter and flooding from the rain and the sea, with almost no infrastructure and a lack of food. Amid heavy restrictions by Israel on aid deliveries to Gaza, says the United Nations, Israel denies it restricts aid.
I felt heartbroken for her because of the conditions. I did everything I could to keep her warm, but I couldn't manage to do so.
Without a phone, the family doesn't have a single photo of Sila when she was alive. Only 3 weeks of memories and little Sila's clothes.
I never thought I would give birth living in a tent in such cold and freezing conditions, with water dripping on us. Water leaks into the tent, pouring down on us. At times, we had to run to escape the water for the baby's sake.
On Sunday, another tragic case. Baby Jamar also didn't make it longer than 20 days.
Touch with your hand. He's frozen. Frozen. All 8 of us, we don't have 4 blankets. What can I do? I see my children dying in front of me. My children are dying in front of me.
In just over a week, 6 babies in Gaza have died from the cold weather, local health officials have said. Under the sound of Israeli drones above, Mahmoud carried Sila's lifeless body to a makeshift graveyard.
We're all sick. Our chests hurt, and we have colds from the cold and rain. If we didn't die from the war, we're dying from the cold.
As the winter cold becomes more harsh and merciless, another preventable death in Gaza, where the youngest are suffering most from the cruelties of war. Well, there you go, some of the very upsetting testimonies of families in Gaza who feel powerless and unable to keep their children warm. The United Nations is saying that they estimate around 1 million people in Gaza don't have adequate protection for winter. And without an improvement in the situation, many are predicting that this wave of preventable deaths in Gaza because of the cold will sadly continue.
Mir Nadir in Jerusalem. A few of the day's other news stories now, and the ambulance service in Wales has declared a critical incident after an increase in demand caused significant delays. The NHS Trust said that at one stage hundreds of calls were waiting to be answered and ambulances were left queuing outside hospitals. The service is urging people to call 999 only for serious emergencies. To South Korea and the latest on Sunday's deadly plane crash, the chief executive of Jeju Air has given a news conference where he said he was committed to strengthening the company's safety and maintenance procedures. It follows the crash which killed 179 passengers and crew. Plane crash investigators have started to inspect the plane's 2 black boxes, but the flight recorder has been damaged. 4 of the victims' bodies have now been released to their families, who will begin the funerals, which will last around 3 days. But most families are still waiting.
I'm sorry, but there are 5 people who have not been identified yet. They need more precise testing for results, and I've heard it is due to various reasons. For those 5, we will try our best and deliver the results before the end of the day.
The New Year's Honours List has been released. They are awarded annually by the King to people from all walks of life, recognising their contributions to public life. Amongst those leading the Honours List is former England manager Gareth Southgate. He is recognised for guiding the men's England football team to back-to-back Euro finals. The Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, has also been knighted for his political and public service and said he was truly humbled. Also knighted the actor Stephen Fry, awarded for his work on mental health awareness and the environment. The 800 metres champion Keely Hodgkinson, who receives an MB, is one of several medalists to be honoured following the Summer Games in Paris. And 4 sub-postmasters who received wrongful convictions as part of the post office scandal have also been given OBs. Now, another story. They were once Hollywood's power couple until they had the nickname Brangelina. Well, now 8 years after they were separated, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie have reached a divorce settlement. A lawyer for the actress confirmed that the pair had managed to come to a deal. So far, his lawyers have not publicly commented. Now, finally, let me take you back to those amazing pictures that we saw at the top of the hour from Sydney. This is their firework display. They've ushered in the new year, focused, of course, on the Harbour Bridge. It lasted 12 minutes, considered one of the best firework displays in the world. London tries to rival it later. The city, of course, followed New Zealand and other Pacific Island nations to be first into 2025. People in American Samoa will be amongst the last to bid farewell to 2024. And we will have the best of the fireworks throughout the day here on BBC News.
Menopause was hell. So many mood swings, and I had terrible hot flashes, probably dozens a day.
Alloy offers science-backed menopause treatments delivered to your door.
Alloy has been completely game-changing.
Find relief at myalloy.com.